Welcome to this video series on renovating a marine steam plant. This is the fourth video in the series and covers modifying the base and mounting the steam plant to the baseboard. Here's a photo of the steam plant components removed from the steam plant base. They had been secured to the base using pan-headed machine screws from the underside of the base. This arrangement would not allow a flat mounting of the base to the baseboard. So, the first job was to countersink the underside of the base to take countersunk machine screws. These would tighten and be flush with the base. This video shows countersinking using a pistol drill with a countersinking bit. I tested the countersunk holes to make sure the machine screws were flush with the bottom of the base. Once the countersunk mounting holes were finished, I marked the mounting holes for the screws that will hold the base to the baseboard. I then lightly center punched the location of the holes. You have to be careful when center punching thin material as the center punch will distort it. The video shows the holes being center drilled with a center drill bit in the pistol drill. I then drilled the clearance holes for the wood screws that will hold the base down to the baseboard. You must be careful when drilling thin material. As you can see in the video, the base rides up the drill once the hole goes through. It would have been better to clamp the base down in the milling machine to drill the holes. But in this case, I was able to drill the holes without any problems. The next step was to strip the old paint from the base. I used a commercial aerosol paint stripper to do this. Once the paint was stripped, I used 400 grit emery paper to scratch the surface of the base to key the paint to. I coated the base with acid etch primer on both sides and left the base to dry for 24 hours. I then gave the base 2 coats of high-temperature enamel paint. I left the base to dry for 48 hours before starting to assemble the steam plant. Once the base paint was dry, I began to assemble the steam plant. First, I mounted the boiler on the base using stainless steel countersunk machine screws and nuts. Then I installed the gas tank. Next, I installed the condenser. Finally, I installed the steam engine onto the base. I double nutted the mounting screws to ensure the nuts do not vibrate loose while the engine is running. I positioned the steam plant and feed water tank on the baseboard and marked the holes for the mounting screws. I then drilled the holes using a pistol drill with a suitable sized drill bit. I then secured the feed water tank to the baseboard using the same type of screws I used for the base. Again, I took care to avoid the screwdriver slipping off the screw head and marking the paint. Mounting the steam plant and feedwater tank completed this stage of the steam plant rebuild. So that's the main components mounted on the baseboard. Next, I'll be moving on to piping the steam plant. There will be more videos of this project posted soon. Please like and subscribe to support my channel. Thank you.